For those of you that don't know, Hasbro owns Power Rangers. They have for a few years now. They also decided they kind of don't want Power Rangers. And if you don't know that, then you haven't been looking at the signs. The Lightning Collection is so far either on hiatus or completely done. They had announced things for the Lightning Collection. The Zap Tiger Zord never came out, and those are all just paused now. They're nowhere to be found. Cosmic Fury being the 30th season, cut down to 12 episodes, or a lower number count of episodes. I don't remember if it was 12 or 10, being cut down. And a lot of people were like, oh, this is a little weird. They broke away from Sentai a little bit, only using footage of the Zords. But now I think we have the final nail in the coffin for everyone to just kind of accept that Power Rangers as we know it is dead and gone. Just as we know it. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we have this. And what this is the Power Rangers Hasbro auction from Heritage Auctions. If you don't know, Heritage Auctions is where they sell a lot of things. There we go. Where they sell a lot of things from a lot of different entertainment things, Hollywood things, even people that just want to sell their like dope ass, expensive ass Pokemon cards. This is where they go to sell them. Let me move me back over here on the big screen because I like it when I'm over here better. Yeah, there. Is that right? Move over here. There we go. The fans of the Thomas Tank Engine community makes amazing things. They buy the props and have them all restored. We should do this for Power Rangers. There's a lot of opinions about this going around. I understand. Trust me. We're gonna look into this a little more and then talk about it. But yes, if you look, 689 things available. Now, when this was first announced a little bit ago, people were like, oh, they're gonna sell some suits, they're gonna sell some props. I don't think anyone understood how much they were going to be selling because they are literally selling everything. You see props, you see the screen suits, you see Zords, monsters, and it's not just for Mighty Morphin. For all the people that are like, oh, they only focus on Mighty Morphin stuff. No, here is some RPM suits and helmets as well, and some samurai stuff. And I just skipped to page 10. We can skip back to a different page. Here's some SPD stuff. Happy anniversary, SPD. Happy you're supposed to be happening next year, SPD. So yeah, there's a lot going on in this auction. If we come over here to the catalog, they put out a catalog. It's a PDF that you can go through. It's a 492 page PDF listing everything that's on sale. Everything that's on sale. And before you get there, you have all the official things, all the scheduling and times and stuff, the people who are auctioning it off. And this is all just by the book, by the number stuff. This is like an official auction house that does this for everything. But here's the kind of forward written by their vice president of memorabilia. It says, "Dear collectors, Power Rangers is not just some of the most beloved franchises of all time. It's also one of the most successful, having generated over $10 billion in revenue. With name recognition on par with Pokemon and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers stands as a true global phenomenon. What began in Japan as Super Sentai mentioned! Let's go! Super Sentai mentioned was reimagined for American audiences, blending action-packed superhero adventures with cost-efficient production, becoming one of the first truly international TV sensations." They said the thing! That's right, Jimmy! In the 1990s, no after-school lineup was complete without Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Kids ran home from school to catch the show on Fox Kids, were watching Zordons, teens with attitude suiting up. Jason, Kimberly, Billy, Zach, Trini, and Tommy. Are they missing someone? Jason? No, we got everyone. I was like, wait a second. Was 4 p.m. appointment viewing. Over the past 30 years, the franchise launched over 30 seasons. 3 theatrical films, and countless side properties, including toys, comics, and video games. Today, streaming platforms like Netflix bring the Power Rangers to a new generation of fans who continue to be swept up by colorful action, kung fu kicks, and iconic battles against villains like Rita Repulsa and Lord Zedd. For sure, some people are reading this and like, they're only mentioning Mighty Morphin. Mention SPD, mention something else, please. What about RPM? Don't worry, RPM's in there too. Heritage Auctions and Hasbro are thrilled to present the largest and most comprehensive collection of Power Rangers memorabilia ever offered for sale, spanning every season, iteration, and character. This collection brings together the most iconic props, costumes, and hero items from across the franchise 30-year legacy. Highlights include original costumes and weapons from Mighty Morphin. Oh, Jimmy, thank you for the lightning bolts and the hearts and the roses. I've never had this before. Can I slow down? Yeah. Including those worn by legendary Pink Ranger Kimberly, Amy Jo Johnson, Blue Ranger Billy, David Yost, Yellow Ranger Trini, Trui Trang, and Green Ranger Tommy Jason David Frank, as well as costumes from the original Japanese cast. Rita Repulsa's iconic staff used to unleash her monsters on the world. Authentic movie costumes worn by your favorite Power Rangers in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, several versions of Alpha, the Rangers' beloved robotic sidekick, a fully transformable Zord ship from Power Rangers in Space, one of the coolest things in this auction, by the way. Helmets from every era and variation, a villainous lineup that includes Rita, Lord Zedd, Master Xandrid, Goldar, Divatox, Sledge, and many more, and original Megazord heads worn by actors during the series' epic battles. With items from every generation, this auction has something for every Power Rangers fan. Whether you followed from the beginning or discovered them more recently, the multi-generational fan base is what makes this event so special, and we're proud to celebrate this with this one-of-a-kind auction. We are honored to present this monumental collection in what can only be described as a once-in-a-lifetime auction. So get ready because it's Morphin time. Joe Madelinella, Executive Vice President, Hollywood Entertainment Memorabilia. And then we have pages going through all of the lots, I guess they're called. The one thing to note, by the way, you said Rita wrong. It's Rita. I know. I corrected myself. The one thing to note about this is that all of these lots, the minimum bid is $500. You'll see on every page it says starting bid $500 on here. So this is what Heritage Auctions does. They do this with many, many properties. And so this whole page right here that you're reading and you're like, man, they get it. They get it. This whole Glaze Fest here happens with literally everything they put up. Happens with literally every auction they put up. And something I wanted to show is their current auction going on, the current big auction they have going on, is Game of Thrones. And if I pull up Heritage Auctions on Instagram, you can see they have things like the Iron Throne that they sold, which sold for $1.5 million. Things like Longclaw, Jon Snow's sword, sold for $400,000. So this is no like small scale auction house. This is like the big boys that Hasbro enlisted or is paying to like sell off all their stuff. So some things we're going to talk about. Let's go back to the pages. There's a lot of cool stuff in this auction. We talked about it before, but like full on suits, full on helmets, literally just the Shadow Ranger with the sword and everything. And one of the blessings in disguise of this is we get all these like HD quality pictures of these suits. They're degraded and such, as you can see, because they have to take these pictures like as is. But now we have all these HD pictures of what these suits and what these props look like, which is a really cool thing that I know people are going to catalog so that we have all these after this site goes down. The other thing is that me personally, when I'm looking for like thumbnails and stuff of these suits, most of the time I have to use like, if they're not newer generation stuff, I have to use 3.0 pictures of like the toys and put that in thumbnails and such. And even the actors have to do it when they do. I know Steve Cardenas posted a picture of his, like, I'm going to be at this convention, and it was the 3.0 MMPR red figure. So like, you know, blessing in disguise, little silver lining for people like me, but it is what it is. This is, like I said, this will start at $500, but as we saw before, these suits are going to get up to 30 grand. These suits are going to get up to 30 grand and much more, because that's just how it is. Maybe some of these other things, some of these small stuff like this Grum staff, maybe this will go for cheaper. Maybe the Grum staff goes for $3,000, $4,000, but all of this stuff is going to get pretty up there in price. Power Rangers is a highly revered thing by a lot of fans, and I know what you see on like Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and all this stuff. You'll see people like, oh, I wish I could buy this and I don't have money. But like, make no mistake, there are people that aren't saying that on Instagram and Twitter and stuff that will buy it and do have the money. So all this stuff is going to be gone. The stuff that isn't, or that doesn't sell, which I doubt there will be much of it, will probably be trashed. You can see here, there's the stunt helmets. As you can tell, the visor has the holes in it. And these are just different Megaforce stunt helmets and stunt keys. They're uncolored and such. So it's really, really cool to see that all this stuff was kept for so long. The fossilized Dino Charge morphers. Like, we just have these cool HD pics of this. I already have a few people in mind that will probably put themselves into debt to own some of these. Yeah, and like, I would love to bet on some of these, but I'm going to be honest and say that the money that I have isn't going to be enough to get a lot of these, you know? A lot of the people that I'm saying, a lot of the people that I'm seeing, a lot of people that are complaining about the prices of these, like, you could give them a year to save up and they still won't have enough to make the minimum bid on this. And that's what I think is crazy for a lot of it. Jimmy, thank you for all the lightning bolts, dog. I don't know what they mean, but they're there. So that's one thing. The other thing is, we get into the question of like, oh, what about the actors? There are actors who wore these suits for a long time.
So I was just...
Sorry, there are actors who wore these suits for a very long time. What about them? And we have some reactions from a lot of them. Let me just play for you real quick. Here is...
So I was just...
Yoshi Sudarso, who played Koda in Dino Charge, talking about it on TikTok.
So I was just made aware that Hasbro is selling off all of our suits from like the past 30 plus years. So all of the Ranger suits are now being, and like props are all being auctioned off in a week or so. If you guys don't know who I am, I played the blue Dino Charge Ranger on Power Rangers Dino Charge. And listen, I get it. Like, you got to make money, right? But how cool would it have been, marketing wise, as a business, right? Like, I get it, it's a business, you gotta make money. But marketing wise, the good karma it would bring if you reached out to all the Ranger actors and individually like sent them a nice gift package of our suits and our props and whatnot. That would be cool, right? Like, we would definitely post about it. People would know about it, right? But hey, what do I know? Times are rough. Hasbro needs the money, maybe? I don't know. Just sad.
So his idea is hit up the Rangers, give them the suits or some memorabilia, and that would be good karma, good marketing, which I do not disagree with at all. Could you imagine the news cycle for the day that all these Rangers are posting, thank you, Hasbro, thank you for sending me my helmet, for sending me this sword that I love, this suit that I love. This is insanely cool. And I also don't disagree on the other side that this is a business. These things don't happen. And I want you guys to really understand how much is in here, and that some of this is 30 years old. If we go back to the first page, you are inundated with Mighty Morphin things from 1993 to 1995. The Goldar head, the Scorpina suit, the Blue Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, the White Ranger, or the Black Ranger, the Green Ranger's in here somewhere too. Rita's staff. And like, now think back to what we just learned a few minutes ago, that they're selling off all the Game of Thrones stuff. And Game of Thrones ended 5 years ago. No, sorry. Game of Thrones didn't end 5 years ago. Game of Thrones currently has a spinoff that's one of HBO's biggest shows. Currently another spinoff in the works. And they're selling off the Game of Thrones things. The Iron Throne. I know Needle's in there. Jon Snow's sword. So like, I want you to very much understand that this is a normal thing that happens in Hollywood. It's not just our niche, our little circle of Power Rangers that's getting fucked over. This is a thing that just happens. Like, it's a natural part of this cycle. And these will not go to people who don't care about them. Nobody's going to pay $15,000 for a OG Tommy Oliver suit, an OG Dragon Dagger, and then just not take care of it. Like, that's not how these things work. Hopefully, best case scenario is this goes to a collector who then rents those things out to conventions like Power Morphicon, to Ranger Stop, to More Phenomenal Expo, to let them borrow these things once a year for their conventions and show them off in some kind of museum like that. Because don't get me wrong, I've seen the idea floated around too of like, all of this stuff should be in a museum. Power Rangers should have a museum. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but not one fucking person is going to go to a Power Rangers physical museum. Like, you can barely get enough people to go to the biggest Power Rangers convention in the world over at Power Morphicon to fill up that whole convention center. Like, these do not warrant an entire museum. But like I said, what hopefully happens is these collectors will buy them and rent or lease them out to these places to let them be shared with the fandom. And don't get me wrong, some of this stuff is going to be lost. Some of this stuff is going to get lost. Finster's head. There's tons of like Beetleborg stuff and Masked Rider stuff in here too. I'm not sure what page it's on, but like you can scroll down and see the insane history going on. Things that nobody's thought about in 30 years on here. The friggin' in space like model thing. It's so sick. And some of this stuff is going to get lost, and that sucks. This Quasar Saver, I guarantee you, won't go for less than $15,000. The collection can be split among several museums, like the Comic-Con Museum. Yeah, I agree. How long will the sale last? I believe it starts November 18th and goes on for a month or something like that. It's an auction, though, so you have to bid, and people can outbid you, and it keeps going. Yeah, a lot of emotions are going to this, and I understand, because this is a very, very... this is a franchise that a lot of people hold near and dear to their heart. A lot of people make a large part of their personality, myself included. Like, this whole channel wouldn't be a thing without Power Rangers. But this is just kind of the natural cycle of Hollywood. This Elgar face, by the way, nightmare fuel. This is the thing that nightmares are made out of, guys. Like, this needs to go somewhere and then be made into a horror film. That's crazy. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff in this. A lot of people are documenting it. A lot of cool facts are coming up about the way these things are made, the differences between them and their Sentai counterparts. I know I don't have the screenshot of it, but I know Simon Bennett talked about. Here's one of the tweets or the threads he put out. This is the showrunner of Cosmic Fury. Said, sad to see 30 years of Power Rangers props and costumes being auctioned off. I felt deeply disappointed when we packed up the New Zealand warehouse and shipped everything to the US last year, knowing that this was where it would all end up. I guess they're too expensive to keep storing when there's no intention of continuing with the show. This is just the first thing that you search. This is just the first thing that's on there that when you search it on Heritage Auctions. I mean, there's an Ishinomori manga museum. Maybe if we have a lot of cope, something like that can happen. And like, don't get me wrong, someone can make that happen. Someone with enough money. It's just all about the return, because that's why this is happening too. It's all about the return that Hasbro is going to get. We got other Ranger actors chiming in. Here, I'll just pull this over here, the Discord that I've thrown it in. Dino Thunder Blue, just saying this low-key kind of hurts, man. We got Hunter Dino, the last Red Ranger of the whole franchise. I will be bidding on my suit. It's unfortunate, but of course I want it, and now I'm having to decide between my suit and my hammer because they're being auctioned separately. So sad, but if it's my only chance, I'm going to try. David Fielding, Zordon, not sure how to feel about all the props and suits and other items being auctioned off. Seems like the closing of a door. Will another one open? Yoshi Sudarso, again, they're so hard up for cash that they'd rather sell off the props and costumes rather than gift them to their respective actors who would cherish the fuck out of them. But hey, whatever, man. It is what it is. You got Jordan Fight saying, shake my head. Hunter Dino again. So sad they're auctioning off our suits so they can make a pretty penny instead of giving it to, I don't know, someone who wants and deserves it. If not the actors, maybe the stunt performers. It's just sad. Why do I got to bid on my own suit if I want it? I would have much rather seen it donated somewhere or auctioned for charity or do something other than this with it. So we read that one already. That one. Okay. So a lot of emotions. A lot of emotions from a lot of actors, from a lot of fans going into it, and it sucks. I agree that something could have been done for the actors. Maybe not give them their whole suits and stuff. I agree that that would have been good, promotional material, but there are people from Marvel shoots, the Avengers, that are like, I kind of had to steal my helmet. I kind of had to steal my hammer. Like, I really wanted it, so I stole it. It's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. And so, like, those are like billion-dollar franchises, and Power Rangers just isn't that. Power Rangers was made on the predication of, hey, this is cheap and we can make money off of it. And it's never escaped that. It's never escaped the idea of like, this is cheap and we can make money off of it. Let's do this the cheapest way possible and make some money off of it. And this is just in tune with that spirit that Power Rangers was birthed from. So it sucks to see it all go. I hope it all finds good places. I hope to see it at the next convention down the line. I hope to see it at many conventions to come. They're so sick with some stuff that's in here. The Rancic outfit, like, it would be so cool to have this stuff. And don't get me wrong, a lot of stuff is degraded, but I also need you guys to understand how cool it is that this was kept for 30 years. How cool it is that a lot of this stuff was kept for 30 years in the condition that it was kept in, because there's so many places and so many franchises that don't get that. Whether you want to call it respect or whatever it is, there are so many places that don't get that opportunity. So much lost media that you don't get to see this stuff from. And so that is a silver lining of this whole thing. The other part of it is what this means for the future. And obviously, Hasbro has no intention to go back to this stuff. Or if they do, they can just remake this stuff. Because that's what they do, like we were talking about for Game of Thrones and stuff. They're just going to remake the Iron Throne when they need it. They're just going to remake whatever it is when they need it. So that's what Power Rangers will have to do instead of storing all this stuff forever. So I hope it goes to a good home. I hope, somebody will donate an actor something here or there. Not all these actors are going to get their suits or their civilian clothes or, the monsters that they voiced, which I know they want. But that's just how this goes. Seeing the Beetleborgs and Masked Rider stuff means Hasbro owns those too. Correct. And I've known that for a while, just simply based on the fact that when I interviewed Kyle Higgins for Tokusatsu World Tour, he talked about how he wanted to include Masked Rider in one of the scenes for Shattered Grid. And they took him so long to answer, or they took so long to answer him about if he could or not, that he just ended up having to not use it. But ultimately, he could have used it if he wanted to because they owned all this stuff anyways. God, the lava lizard looks so sick. It's sad that Power Rangers doesn't pay their actors well enough to buy their own suits. Yeah, Power Rangers is just non-union, always has been, and just made for pennies. That's why we get new ones every year. Super Sentai is the same way. Kamen Rider is the same way. Yeah. Just scrolling through it and seeing how much is in here. Like I said, 689 items is not a small auction at all. I can't imagine what the lowest selling thing is going to go for. If anyone gets lucky enough to put in a minimum bid on something and that's what they get, that would be sick. But I don't know if that's going to happen for anything. Even the most hated season has like their people that love it. You know what I mean? Samurai is panned by a lot of people, but there are also a lot of people who they ride or die for Samurai. Like Samurai is their shit. You know what I'm saying? This is another thing that I didn't think about, but this is Matt Sadowski says it's kind of crazy that there are lots of heritage auction that have personal items of the cast, hair and makeup, costume Polaroids that I've never seen and would love to have. I will definitely be bidding on my own wardrobe, but I'm sure I will be outbid. I don't think most of the fans know how little we were paid / bought out for, and 20 years later, that money went bye-bye a long time ago. This is what Power Rangers is in the scope of like Hollywood. You find brand new actors, you pay them pennies, you shoot half the scenes with them, and then use the other half that's the cheap footage from Toei. You remake a little bit here and there, you do some cool things here and there, and it doesn't discredit the value that it has to you and me that like we grew up on this shit. These were our superheroes. These were larger than life people. But it can be one thing to us and be another thing to the people who hold the rights. You know what I mean? Yeah, here's the hammer that's separate from the suits, all the Cosmic Fury weapons. I think the Cosmic Fury morphers would be insanely cool to have, but those are going to go for exorbitant prices, especially because they were so taken care of. You have the Ninja Turtles, the Next Mutation stuff. That's insanely cool. Here's the Beetleborgs on the last couple pages. The Masked Rider suit. Like the Masked Rider suit is insane to have. And then lots of just Power Rangers products. Just assorted lots of Power Rangers products. So if you have the money and are lucky enough to get one of these, I commend you. Show it off as much as you can. Take all the pictures you can. Take care of it. Cherish it. Like I said, I don't think that there's anyone who is going to spend $500 on this, up to $30,000 on this, up to, God forbid, $500,000 on this. I think probably the most expensive things to go will be anything that JDF wore. If you have that money to buy this stuff, I don't think you're going to not take care of it, honestly. I think a lot of people are fear-mongering right now that this is going to go someplace and people are just going to throw it in a closet and let it collect dust and we'll never see it again. I think there's a lot of fear-mongering going on that's not going to happen. That's just not how these things work. Just not how these auctions work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. There's more recent stuff on it. Everything since Mighty Morphin to now. Hey, do you know Gundam? I know Witch from Mercury. I watched Witch from Mercury. I tried to watch Iron Blooded Orphans, but I never got super into it. So that's the Power Rangers auction. There's a lot of stuff in here I would want, but like I said, I'm not who this is for. I'm not willing to spend $5,000 on this stuff. Someone is. Yeah, I agree, because a reseller won't spend $5,000 on a helmet to maybe be able to sell it. Unlikely. Yeah. They're not going to spend $5,000 and then instantly put it up on eBay and be like, $10,000 for this one of a kind helmet. It's not how this stuff works. Maybe you see it in a few years, but then we'll see. Really like your content. Thanks for introducing me to Kamen Rider. No problem. Big Kamen Rider nerd. Shout out to the name. Like the Mega Ship model, I haven't gotten the money for that, but man, wow. Dude, the Mega Ship model is like super important. Like it's like a super important history behind it and everything. It would be really cool to see. It's just not going to go to someone who barely made the bid and then throws it in the back of a closet. You know what I'm saying? So while this sucks to see now, the big takeaway I want you to take from this is that this is just part of the cycle. It happens. Hollywood does this, and it's going to happen again with more franchises you love. It's nothing you can do. But you also have to look forward. Hasbro's going to do something with Power Rangers. They're not just going to do nothing. Whether they license it out to another place to make the show and make something wholly, completely brand new, or they show you reruns and remasters of Mighty Morphin and SPD and all this stuff, like they're going to do something. Hasbro's not stupid. They obviously don't like Power Rangers that much because like they have all these G.I. Joe, Transformers, all these amazing franchises that they put their whole Hasbussy into. It's just right now, Power Rangers is not it for them. And that sucks. I hope they make enough money from this auction to be like, let's put that back into Power Rangers. Let's do something else with it. Let's make more toys with it. Let's make more series, more comic books and stuff. But we also have the comics still running. We have Super Sentai if you really, really need your fix of that stuff. We have Kamen Rider if you really, 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 really need your fix of that stuff. It's not the same, but it is there. You know what I'm saying? Franchises will come and go. Sticking around for 30 years is you're no slouch. You're a titan of media. This is a confirmation that as we know it, Power Rangers is dead. All this stuff, they brought back in Beast Morphers at one point or another. They brought back in Once and Always, but like this is the nail in the coffin for sure.